They can't see it online.
I know. Thank you.
Fruitcake.
Fruitcake. I will eat it. Yeah, Jan and I were at the grocery store the other day, and have you started?
Yes.
Okay. And I saw some,
Yeah.
so I had my hands. I was like inches from it, and she said no. What are you gonna do?
We have a gratitude that was in the back. I'm so
Yeah.
grateful for my church tribe and the prayer warriors. You all have my heart. So thank you for that.
Thank you. And Jan and I are gonna try to kind of zoom out of here pretty quick.
We are going to zoom out of here quick.
We got reservations at 10:30, so
So that gives you 4 minutes to do your stuff.
that ain't gonna happen. T-shirts and sweatshirts. This one's for people that like to fly. So keep calm and wings level. If you know someone that flies, just call me Captain. Flying is plain fun.
Ha ha.
Aviation, keeping the number of landings you make equal to the number of takeoffs. And a nice ball cap that says AV8R.
Aviator.
Aviator. Fun. All right. And we do have a couple patron saints by the name of John Lennon and George Carlin.
Yay, George and John.
And John said, well, all we are saying is give peace a chance. So
And that song will be in your head the rest of the day.
that's good. That's a good
Yep.
thing. That's a good thing. And George, I think it's the duty of a comedian to find out where the line is drawn and cross it deliberately.
Does that make you a comedian?
I do not consider myself a comedian, but I do
Yes,
kind
you
of
do
do that, yeah, a lot. Just enough to kind of not get myself
Push
in too
the
much trouble.
boundaries, yeah.
Just push the boundaries a little bit.
Push the boundaries, push the buttons.
I know.
Is that a lot?
There is a species of jellyfish that is biologically immortal. What? Yeah, Turritopsis dorini. Juvenile form after becoming an adult, theoretically living forever. Interesting. Yeah, I know.
He's reverted to his childlike form. Right?
Who knew? Well, apparently you knew. So.
You know stuff, Phil.
I know. The worst. Okay. Let's go to the next page. I did that. It's very beautiful over here. Were Thomas Edison's last words after briefly coming out of a 2-day coma before passing away.
Oh. That ought to tell you something.
Yeah. He knew something.
He knew stuff. He knew stuff. He definitely knew stuff.
Yep.
So, the strength of a man's virtue should not be measured by his special exertions, but by his habitual acts. Blaise
Yeah.
Pascal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, 'cause it sounds like something Nietzsche might say, but I'm not sure. Nietzsche actually has a lot of kind of
Move
negative
it, move
stuff
it,
to
move
say.
it.
Okay.
Got stuff to do. We should be leaving right now.
I know. The great man is he who does not lose his child's heart. Ignorance is bliss.
Yes.
And Benjamin Franklin, if you would have guests merry with cheer, be so yourself, or so at least appear.
Take it till you make it. So, calendar, real quick. This, right after services, we have, Michelle's speaking today, and then right after services, we have Divine Messages with Beth and Seimei Healing, all in the back. And then Wednesday is Followers of the Way. We're doing that Zoom. If you want to be a part of that, let me know. And then Friday, we're setting up for our Readers and Healers event from 1 to 3. And
For Saturday.
we're setting up
I know,
on Friday.
I know.
And then Saturday is our Readers Healers event from 1 to 3. So if you'd be willing to volunteer some of your time for that, please let us know. And that's what's going on this week.
Cool. Why don't dinosaurs talk?
I don't know.
Because they're all dead. What's the biggest moth in the world?
Mothra?
A mammoth. We got plenty of those around here. How can you tell if a dinosaur is a plant eater or a meat eater? Lie down on a plate and see what happens. Why was T-Rex afraid to visit the library? His books were 60 million years overdue.
Okay, we need to go.
I know.
So, are you done?
Well, no, but I am.
Done enough.
I'm done enough.
So let's give the reason we're leaving is it is our 37th anniversary here coming up soon. And so we've made arrangements to go have brunch at
And Drumhellers.
Drumhellers.
So she's never been there before.
No.
So. But she has told me for, 3 or 4 years that one day I'm going to have a mimosa. So today might be that day. I don't know.
And then stay tuned because we have a story that hopefully we'll share next time about what happened in our guys. It was just
yesterday at our house.
It was a
Next week.
miraculous.
Next
It was a
week.
miraculous.
Time.
Yeah. Anyway, more to come. So let's give
I know.
Michele Lanigan. And before I go, let's give Michele a big hand for Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh, yeah. And Alan,
Lots of goodies in the refrigerator.
yes. So we have snacks afterwards. We have turkey leftovers. We have I think there's turkey back there, and pie and yams, and I can't remember, all kinds of snacky stuff. So for those of you who weren't there last Thursday, you can have it today. So let me get a little organized. Okay, so good morning, everybody. So I don't know if you have ever noticed how many angels we have in this room. Has anybody ever counted them? So there's 3 there. Let's see, there's 3, 4, 5,
The windows.
6. Yeah, I got those. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we have these 2 little ones, 6, 7. There's one over here, 8, 9, 10. Let's see. Just saw another one, 10. We got 10. There's one back there, 11, 12. Did I miss any? Did you guys count something different?
There's one on the table.
13. There's another one,
Another one on the
14.
table.
So that is so cool. We have a lot of angels, and I was raised Catholic, and so of course in Catholic Church they're really big on angels and talking. We were always told that as kids we had guardian angels to protect us, and so angels feel like a normal part of my life, and they have since I was a child. And going to Catholic school, they had angels all over the place. Bye, Janice. Bye, Phil. Happy anniversary. Okay, the parents are gone. We can do whatever we want. Oops. But we always had pictures of angels in the schools and the churches, and there'd always be pictures of like a little kid with a big angel behind him, or sometimes holding them and stuff like that. So having them was always very normal to me. So what about spirit guides? So that's a term that didn't come into use actually until about, 19th century. And kind of there was a rise of mysticism in the end of the 19th century, and people were started getting into understanding and learning about Native American and spirit guides and ancestors, and then also African, from the African Americans that were kindly brought over here, right? So kindly, yeah. So, but anyways, people were starting to become aware of, other beliefs than just Christian beliefs. So my point here is that the term angels and spirit guides are words that are used to describe spirits that help us. And my feeling is, because I know there's a lot of people out there that have definition. This is what an angel is. This is what a spirit guide is. This is what this is. And my feeling is that, these spirits kind of are all the same in some way, in that they are there on the other side, and they transcend that space to come into the physical world in some way to help us or guide us and to protect us. And there's a couple books I want to share with you. These are by Brad and Sherry Steiger, and a couple of my favorite books, and it's just a coincidence that I have both of them, because this one was given to me It's Angel Miracles. It was given to me by my good friend Cindy McKay. And let's see, can you see that there? So I want to make sure that people know I have it. And coincidentally, like 10 years before she gave me that one, I bought this one by the same authors at an airport in Denver, I think. So pretty funny. So this is Real Miracles, Divine Intervention, and Feats of Incredible Survival. So if you're looking for it, I would suggest looking for their name. It's Steiger, Steiger, Brad and Cherry. And I'll just show the picture real quick for the people online. But these both have wonderful stories, and the interesting thing is that these stories are all different, but in some way there's a lot of things that are there's a lot of commonalities about them. But and they're just, to me, they're just really awesome. And the thing is that, like, there's not really a rule about what spirit guides or spirit help should look like, and some of them actually, look like this, appeared people like that with not a tapestry, but we don't have a tapestry up here, but spirits that have wings and maybe a halo, and a lot of times they're shown as female, but not always. And this little book here had one where it was talking about, there was this little girl, and she ran into a street chasing a ball, and all of a sudden she felt herself being lifted up and like moved way far out of the way from a moving car. And she jumped up and saw this magnificent angel standing there, and she just felt so much comfort and safety and joy, and just was totally mesmerized by him. And he said, "I will always be with you." And the funny thing about the story is, she was playing with her little friends. It was like school, and there's teachers there. Is they saw her make this flying leap backwards. They didn't see the angel, but I mean, it was profound enough that, the other kids, I mean, she became a legend in the school of being able to fly. But so it's very real. Now, sometimes angels may appear as mysterious strangers that just come out of nowhere and help you, and then they move on their way. And I'm getting my books mixed up. I think it was also in this book, there is a story about a man that got caught in a blizzard, and this was ages ago. So for those of you who are not seniors, I have to give you some background to this story. But we used to have what's called service stations. And you would go and you could get gas, and they would also kind of perform, sometimes they would usually perform other kinds of services, like maybe even sell tires, they would change your oil, maybe spark plugs, some minor maintenance stuff. But also, if you ran out of gas and you could walk to a service station, they would give you a can, put gas in, and you walk back and fill up or you got a ride from somebody to fill up your car. And so this guy knew that there was a service station about 5 miles away, and he's there in the middle of a blizzard, side of the road, but he was not dressed to walk 5 miles out and 5 miles back in the middle of a storm. And he started getting really worried. It was getting very cold, and there was just no traffic out because all the sensible people were home out of the blizzard. And this truck pulled up, and it had like dusty service station on the side of it. And this woman got out of the vehicle, and she had long blonde hair and coveralls. And that kind of surprised him because, women weren't usually working at gas stations back then. And she gave him a gas can. She says, "There's only a couple of gallons in here, but it's enough to get you to Dusty's. Just give him back his can." And she goes, "I'm really busy. I gotta go." And she just took off. So he puts it in his car. He goes to Dusty's service station, and he bringing him the can back. And he says, "Yeah, your employee stopped and gave me this." And he goes, "I don't have anybody working." And he goes, "But," and he described, she was really beautiful with long blonde hair. And he goes, "No, I definitely don't have anybody like that." "But she was in your truck." And I go, "I don't have a truck out there right now." And he goes, "But that is my gas can because I have my initials on it." And he goes, and the Dusty goes, must have been an angel. But he had no explanation why she was in a truck that he didn't have, out, and dressed like, looking like an angel. Wonder if she had gotten out in her long robes and wings, what that would have done. So what about, let's see, hold on, I lost my place, sorry. So sometimes, spirit guides can appear in many ways. I mean, sometimes spirits, they may be our ancestors, or what about even your relatives? And this is a story that somebody told me many years ago. And it was, I was talking to this man, and he had been in Vietnam, and this was as a soldier, not as a tourist, as they are now. And he was in the war, and he told me about, he was in a foxhole, and there was middle of a fight, and all of a sudden he heard his sister call his name, and he spun around to see somebody who was about ready to shoot him. So yeah, and his sister was alive. In fact, I had given him a reading earlier, and I said, what was going on in your life when you're about 19, 20, that your sister and your mom are really worried about you? And he's like, I don't know. And he just sort of forgot he was in a war. But his sister, and I've heard other stories like that of where people that are alive will somehow mysteriously appear or help, especially family members when they're in time of trouble. So sometimes it's not even a spirit appearing to us. Sometimes you ever have like one of those feelings like you shouldn't be somewhere, or you shouldn't do something, or you shouldn't go someplace. And I had something like that happen years ago. I've actually had a couple of them, but this one was extremely profound. I was supposed to go on a business trip back to Maryland, and I was excited about this trip because I liked the people. It was a nice time of year to go to Maryland. The work was, it was interesting. So I was kind of excited about going on this trip, but I was freaked out about flying, and I don't normally do that. I don't normally have any issues with flying, but there was a lot of weird things that happened, like, because this was when I was working for the Army, and I had to get online to make my reservations, and in this particular program they have, and it wasn't working. I couldn't make my airplane reservations, I couldn't make my hotel reservations, and somebody from the travel department had to make them, and it was this big hassle. And then I couldn't get my travel card, my government travel card, it wasn't working. Had a big hassle getting that set up. And so I show up at the airport. This is here in Pasco many years ago before they did all the remodel. And I show up there at like 6 in the morning, to catch this early flight. And the woman goes to check in my bag, and she goes, well, I see your reservation, but it hasn't been paid for. And I'm really freaking out, and I'm thinking, I don't have to go, but I got to check with my funding person. I just happen to have her cell phone. So I call her, and she goes, oh, we'll just pay for it with your government credit card. I'm like, oh. I said, but we're not supposed to use our government credit card to pay for our plane fare. And she goes, oh, that's okay, I'm giving you permission. Okay, so got to get on the airplane. So I'm sitting there, and I mean, as it gets closer and closer, I keep watching the clock, and as it gets closer and closer, I'm just getting so stressed out. I just know I'm not supposed to be on a plane. And then they call us to board, and it was one of those ones where you didn't go down the chute. You had to walk out across the tarmac, which just, I don't know why that's always bothered me. But anyway, so I'm walking out there, and I'm like, Jesus, I says, I really need your help. Do something. Give me a heart attack, a broken leg. I know I'm not supposed to be on this plane. But I just knew I wasn't supposed to be on this plane. So I get in there, and I sit down, and I fasten my seatbelt, and I kind of look around. How come nobody else is stressed out about going on this plane? And I didn't know if it was actually the plane ride. I mean, I knew something was wrong, but I couldn't pinpoint it, and I didn't know if it was the flight or if it was something that was back when I get to Maryland. I didn't know. I was just freaking out. And I kind of took one of those breaths, and they're starting to button up the airplane and close all the things, and I don't remember if they actually closed the door, but all of a sudden the captain came on. He goes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, we're going to have to ask you to deboard. There's a mechanical problem with the plane. Yeah. I was like the first one out of there. And then and they're talking about, when you deboard, they're talking about, they were announcing how to, change the reservations. You go up to not the ticket counter where you come in, but they go up to where you were checking in to go out on, what's it called?
The boarding area.
The boarding area, yeah. And so people were going up there to change their flights, and I'm like, God. So I called work and didn't get hold of my boss, but got hold of a coworker. And I said, I just know I'm not supposed to be on this flight. And I knew he would get it. He was one of those people, I knew he would get it. My boss, maybe not. And I go, I don't know what to tell our boss. And he goes, don't worry, I'll take care of it. And so I told him I wasn't going to go on the flight. But I had to go up to the front counter, where you get your ticket, to get my bags. And the lady who had checked me in brought up the bags, and she comes carrying out, and she goes, I knew it was going to be you. So weird things happen, but you have to listen to those inner voices. They're very real. So what about people? Do you think people that people that are walking around with us, do you think they're angels? Have you ever known somebody like that? I didn't really realize this because I always thought, was taught that, angels are beings that are running around. And yes, I see you guys in the back. But I did hospice. I was a hospice volunteer many years ago, and this was in Sacramento. And it was a small organization. It was a volunteer. It wasn't associated with a hospital or anything. And this is before hospice started to be something that they had in through your insurance or hospitals or stuff like that. And so it was a volunteer group. But the lady who ran it, the coordinator, she was just one of the most amazing people. And I remember going to the first meeting, and she's kind of just giving an update of what had happened and new clients that we were picking up and people that we had lost and new volunteers and just the usual kind of thing. But just listening to her talk, her stories were just so amazing. And in California at that time, there's only two people that could but who could declare cause of death. One is a doctor, and the other one is the hospice person, a designated hospice person. I couldn't. Okay, so we're good there. But she was, I don't know what kind of training she had to do it. And she didn't just walk into the house and go, yeah, that person's gone, and then sign the paperwork. She would spend time with these people and help them through their loss. And she would even go there early and be with them, knowing that it was going to happen soon. And she was just so amazing. And I'm just sitting there watching her, getting mesmerized by her stories, and I'm like, this woman's an angel. She's a real angel. And that's when I first realized that there are angels that are born and that live among us. And they're usually and I've heard other people talk about it, and there oftentimes are people that are doing that kind of work in some kind of service work or helping work, but their energy's just a little bit different, and very, very special people. So what about animals? Can animals be angels?
Yes.
Definitely our pets. And we hear a lot of stories about dogs and cats saving family members or even saving each other. I saw a video just the other day, a coyote grabbed this little dog, and the cat came out and beat up the coyote and chased it away. And they were all okay. Maybe not the coyote, got beat up by a cat. But, we hear a lot of stories like that. And I've heard stories about horses also protecting people or protecting other animals. And there was a story, did you see this one? It was on the news. I think it was on like one of those 2020 type shows or 60 Minutes or something. But this woman had a pot-bellied pig, and she had passed out in her home, and they had like a doggy door, and so this pig kept going out into the street to try to stop people, and it would go back and check on her, and it was going back and forth several times, and they know that because the doggy door didn't quite fit for her, and she ended up scraping up her back. So finally she went out and she laid in the street. And somebody stopped, and she got up, and she somehow managed to convince them to follow her, and they were able to call 911, and she saved their lives. And of course, I don't know if pigs are supposed to be as smart as dogs. They're supposed to be very smart. And then there's also stories. I've heard stories about cows, cows helping people and helping other animals as well. Have you guys heard stories about the dolphins? There's been a lot of stories about dolphins. People be out in the water in danger of drowning, and the dolphins will help them. Or no, what about whales? You guys ever hear stories about whales? I know at least one. There was a woman that was she was a scuba diver, but she was a marine biologist, so not a hobby scuba diver. She knew what she was doing in the water, and I think she was actually studying whales, but this big blue whale came up, and they never got close to the people that were studying them. They would keep their distance, but be nearby. But I mean, it was in her face. It was pretty much pushing her, and even the fin, came over and tried to kind of almost grab her. She was terrified because these things are monstrous. I mean, their fin is like bigger than these benches here, and just one little flip and you're toast. And she had never seen anything like this. She was just totally freaked out. And she got near the boat, and she popped up out of the water, and the friends on the boat are like yelling at her, "Hurry up, get on the boat, there's a tiger shark." Oh. Yeah, so the boat, and there's also stories. So this whale was saving her, worried about her getting attacked by this tiger shark. But there's also stories and videos about whales saving seals from killer whales, because they don't like killer whales because the killer whales hunt the smaller ones. And so the whales will try to save and try to help seals, and so I think that's just really cool. And I lost my place again. Oh, there was another one in one of these books about seals helping. Now, seals are a meal for a lot of animals in the ocean, and they were trying to help. There was a man that was in the water, and seals came up to protect him from sharks. There was like a whole bunch of them. I guess they outnumbered them. And there's one story in here, I think it was this one, and there was a family that was camping, and I don't know, I don't think they were hunting, but they were camping, like not in a campground. They were serious camping out in the woods, and the 12-year-old wandered away, as kids do. And he, by the time they noticed him, I guess there was a big family group, and it was starting to get dark, and it was starting to snow. And so they were searching for him, and all of a sudden it got too dark, and they just had to wait till morning. And they were really freaked out because he had just a light jacket, it's snowing, it's dark, and it's the woods. And so first light, they're getting ready to head out, and all of a sudden he comes walking up, and they're like, "What the heck happened?" And he goes, "Well, I got lost, and I was trying to find a place where I could stay warm for the night after it got dark." And he goes, "And then this cow elk came up, and I tried to throw rocks and stick to drive her away, because they can be pretty mean." And so he's trying to drive her away, and she wouldn't go. And she ended up laying down with him and kept him warm all night. Wow. And kept him alive. And the family was like, "Oh, that's so wonderful, what a great miracle, and blah, 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 thank God." Da, 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 da. And one of the guys goes, "I'm thinking, yeah." And so he's like, "I'm going to go see." And he followed because the boy had walked back in the snow. So he followed the boy's tracks back, and this man found where the boy had laid down, and he could see where the elk had been. It was a big area. He saw the elk tracks and everything, and so he was a believer. And he goes, I can't imagine that. I can't even believe that. So what do you think? Do you think animals are just smart enough and kind enough to take care of us, or do you think spirit is playing a role in that to guide them? Absolutely. Or maybe a little bit of both. Sometimes it's both. Sometimes spirit might direct us to help somebody or do something for someone. You never know. But I think it's both. So I have one more story for you, and this is very cool. And this is from Oahu, and this was back before Hawaii started being developed at all. It's a very, very old story. And there was this man, obviously a Hawaiian man. This was before there was too many Americans there. And he was taking his nieces and nephews to go fishing. And it was at night, because that was the best time to go fishing. And his wife, Tutu was her name. They didn't say his name for some reason in the story, but anyway, so she was going to stay on the shore with a lantern because it was night and they didn't know how to come back. So he's out there with these kids, his nieces and nephews and his kids, and they're getting, they're fishing and they caught a lot of fish and they're starting to get rambunctious and, doing stuff that kids do, and pretty soon they capsize the boat. And so now they're in the water, and I guess they couldn't ride it, or I don't know, they didn't explain about the canoe, but he's in the water with these kids and he gets them all around, and they notice they can't see the light. And there's no moon, and it's overcast, so they can't even see the stars. It is just dark out. And all of a sudden, one of the kids screams, and she's like, somebody just touched me, or something just touched me. And then another one, something touched me too. And the man could feel it. He could feel something big move right next to his legs. And he looked around pretty soon. He saw the unmistakable sign of the dorsal fin of a shark. And so now he gathers the kids, and he's like, what to do? And they're kind of like, because the shark just kept circling them, and it would go off a little way, and it would circle, and it would go off a little way. And it was coming really close to them. And the man goes, let's follow it. Because that's what you do when a shark is around you, right? You follow it. My first thought. So they did, but he had a feeling. He had a feeling something was up with this shark. It just, he just knew. And so they would start to follow it. And it would go out a ways, and they would follow it, and then come back and make a loop, and then it would go out. And so they just kept following it. And after a little while, they could see the lantern. And the shark stayed with them until they all got out of the water, and then it made another loop, and off it went. And so they told their Aunt Tutu what happened, and of course that was like pretty exciting. But she wasn't surprised. She said the word for shark in their language is mano, and the mano is their family's amakua, their guardian spirit. Ooh. So, and I have another personal story about myself and angels. I like to go to churches and look at the angels in the church. And all churches have angels up in the ceilings. They hang up there. And all churches are like that. And I was in this little church in Vancouver, and I knew it was my last time being there. And I had really enjoyed my time being there. It was really nice people, got to know them. It was just a delightful little church. And I was just sitting there going, and this was really weird because I started, you know how when you start to say something and the other person knows what you're going to say? Okay, I started to think something, and it happened. I started to think, I'm going to ask God to send this church some more angels. And so I'm sitting there, and I just started to think the word I, and all of a sudden I felt this whoosh go by me, and it was so profound. I felt like my hair was touched. It was really profound, and I was like, oh, man, what was that? And again, it was like when I was in the airplane. It was like, nobody feel that, And I asked my boyfriend, do you feel that? And he's like, I don't know. But the lady that was preaching, the pastor, she just became on fire. She was just so wound up, and she's like, did you feel that? Did you feel that? It was just absolutely incredible that she could feel that, and that it was just, the thought hadn't even come out. But that's how powerful our prayers are. And a lot of times, because I was in that kind of nice, mellow, in-church space and very aware, I could feel it. And she could feel it, and everybody else was asleep, I guess. I don't know what they were doing. But it's just, Spirit is always around us, and Spirit is always there to help us. And I like, there's a story, Mr. Rogers from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. He likes to tell the story about how his mom told him to look for helpers. And it's the same way with, if you don't have people around, there's always people or spirits or angels there to help you and to just ask for them. And there was an interesting video the other day, because a lot of times our spirit helpers aren't who we expect. And a lot of times you might have, negative things that happen and you think, oh God, this is terrible, my life is ruined. I got laid off from my job when I was in Sacramento. I was underemployed for 2 years, and finally I decided to start applying out of state. And as soon as I did that, I quickly got picked up at the Army depot, and that's how I ended up here. And I am so happy I did. This is where I belong. But man, those 2 years I was in a lot of anger and resentment that I wasn't getting what I wanted, but Spirit knew better. And so your angels and your help can come in a lot of forms. And there was a video the other day, and it was like in a downtown area, and this guy he looked like he could play a bad guy in a movie, and he's walking along, and there's like a woman with one of those buggies that has and he like flipped the cover as he's walking by, and then there's this couple at a flower stand, and he pushes them both over so they fall down, and they're like, what? And then all of a sudden this truck comes careening and hit the flower stand. And then he goes a little bit further, and there's some guy just standing there on his phone, and he pushes him up against the wall. No, he pushes him up against the wall, and all of a sudden something fell where they had been doing construction. And then he goes a little further, and there's a kid walking along and are running out to the street chasing a ball, because kids do that, and he tripped him and just barely missed getting hit by a car. And the title of this is "You Never Know What Your Guardian Angel's Going to Look Like." So the reason why I wanted to talk about this today was to remind you that Spirit is always with us. It's not like, we're all here and our Spirit help is all out somewhere else. Our Spirit help is always there. And to try to remember to be open, and to remember to ask for Spirit help. Like when I was walking out in the airplane, Jesus, please help me, give me a heart attack or a broken leg or something. I don't want to go on this flight. But I think Jesus already had a plan before that even happened. And Jesus is my favorite spirit guide. I think it's just really important, as my big message today to tell you, is to just remember that Spirit is always there. In whatever form you want to believe in it, it's there. It's there for your help. And so I talked longer than I love telling those stories. I could go on all day. But let's do a quick meditation. Man, and Beth is master of the lights today. So just take a deep breath. And notice your chair, how it feels. And notice your feet and your connection to the planet. And notice in telling those stories, you kind of got inspired and started remembering some stories that happened for you, where Spirit stepped in and helped you. I think Spirit has kept me from doing a lot of stupid stuff. Just be in your own little bubble. And let's just take a minute and let's just go on. Let's go on a little meditation journey. So in your meditation journey, you can go wherever you want. You can go, it doesn't matter. You can go to the ocean. And this is just a place where you're going to connect with Spirit, your Spirit information. So it could be to the ocean, to the mountaintop, to the desert. I love the Southwest desert. It just seems magical to me. It could be in the ocean. It could be the Antarctic. So find that special place on the planet where you like to commune with Spirit. And I want you to visualize a spirit that is going to come and talk to you. And entity could look however you want. Could be an animal, could be Jesus, could be an angel. But this being is going to come and talk to you about your spirit health. And I would like you to give this entity something that symbolizes where you can't see spirit, where you get blocked, where you might be in denial that spirit exists, or where you might think, oh, I got to work harder to solve this problem instead of asking for help. So just give something that symbolizes letting go of not being aware of spirit. And you don't have to worry about what it is or analyze it or anything. Just let this other being take it. And then this being, this entity, is going to give you something that helps you to become more aware of spirit. That helps you to become more aware of, oh gee, that red light saved me from maybe getting in an accident. Or maybe that person that gave me a special hello and made me feel better was sent by spirit to help uplift me for the day. So just take that gift and notice how it feels for you, how it changes you, that you can be aware of how much spirit helps you every single day. And just take a deep breath. And you could come back here to this room. In present time. And just notice bringing that gift into your space, into your body, how it changes you, how it makes you feel. And just bring in, visualize above your head a big gold sun with your own energy. As you're changing, you want to bring back your energy. And bring it into your body. And fill up your aura, your bubble around you. And let's just go ahead and stretch and wake up and open your eyes. And we can use lights now, Beth. Thank you. So we have a couple minutes. Anybody want to talk about what happened for them? I might need help getting the microphone going. Beth, can you help with this? Thank you. Anybody have any comments or questions about? We got a couple over here.
So the person that came to me was my dad,
Cool.
which he never comes to me. But he gave me a handmade wooden cross that was put together with sinew.
Ooh.
I don't know what, I gave him frustration.
You gave him what?
Frustration.
Frustration. Very cool. Yeah. Anybody else?
I went to a little cabin, and there was a fireplace I was sitting by, and a young gentleman came and sat there by the fireplace with looked like a cup of cocoa. And we conversed, and then he stood up and gave me a walking stick that was all carved and had a light on the end of it, and said anytime I needed help that I had it.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
wonderful.
It was really good.
That's beautiful.
So I took off a necklace and I gave it to him, and it was a pink stone.
It was a pink stone?
Pink stone.
Pink stone? Very cool. Any other comments? Wait, just a second. I think there's one more.
So it was one I call my ancient ancestor that came to me.
Oh,
And what I gave him was a very old calendar, like, you know, like my lifetime calendar type of a thing, but everything from the past. And he just gave me reassurance and a touch on my cheek and a hug, and it gave me comfort.
that's awesome.
What do you
Anybody
think
else?
about the calendar?
I'm sorry, what?
What do you think about the calendar?
Well, it looks like you just gave him your burdens from your life.
Wow.
But yeah.
I'd like to think so.
But these were all things that you guys picked to give. So that's very cool.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I thought there was somebody else in back. Did you have one? Oh, Bobby, go ahead.
Well, before we started the meditation, I kept on seeing yellow. And so this yellow light, I followed it into the room, and I saw Jesus. And Jesus handed me this light, and it was white.
Wow.
Dude, I saw it too. I saw yellow. Yes.
It was so beautiful.
What a blessing. That is so cool.
Oh, wow. There were 3 of them that saw that.
Wow. Now, is there anybody else in back? I know Sandra had one too. Okay, Sandra up here had one.
I saw yellow. 4 of them.
What a great meditation. Cool.
I think some of you know most of what I'm going to say, but William and I came together by God. He got us together. Had already married 7 men, and that didn't work. And William wanted to work with God, and I then was in that place. Went to do that myself. So the two of us have been together for 33 years, and God has been with us all the time. In this room, He talks to me in over here. This person, they're ready to listen, or they need something. And so I start watching the church and watching the people, and it's amazing how it's so slick. It's just so slick and so easy, and we go everywhere we go. Everywhere we go, we try to look at it as helping God. And
That's cool. Thank you. That's awesome.
So it's not just here in this room. We'll do it in the emergency room, waiting area, whatever. But in the meditation, what I saw was to give up was a hardball.
A hardball, like baseball?
Hardball, baseball. Yeah.
Wow.
And what I received was the golden light before you said you put the sun. It was just enveloped in that golden light.
Wow.
And,
We've had a number of those.
yeah, so it was. Thank you very much.
It was very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. And
Communion.
yes, well, I think we have offertory next, right? I guess I get to decide. Huh? And John was nice enough to volunteer to do our offertory. Well, he volunteered because I asked. Thank you, John. You're such a blessing.
Well, thanks for asking me to volunteer. I come here and part of Janice's comments in Callan.
I'm going to let you. Do you want me to hold it for you or you got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Janice's comments in the calendar about awareness, and since Darlene and I came here, we're aware of a lot of the love and divine connection we all practice, and getting to know everyone here pretty much. Yeah. I'm so grateful. Darlene was grateful too. She just fell in love with this church, and it's in gratitude I feel to thank all of you for making this journey so much easier. We're not alone, and it's time to give, and each of us has something special we've offered in different ways. It's not just money, it's just my gratitude to all of you, Janice and Phil, the elders. We're all elders, it sounds like. But I just want to thank you for being with me and on this journey. We're not anywhere else but where we should be.
Thank you.
That
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
the best of me.
Thanks. Can you turn this? I think we can turn it off. Is it okay?
The red is on. I'm not sure if it has on.
I think it's off. So I did have. I don't remember if Janice or Phil mentioned this, but we're still doing the clothing drive for Jersey for. I just spaced out on the name of her organization. It's Sent to Serve, and they when it's warmer they have a like a trailer that people that are homeless can get showered up in, but in the wintertime they're distributing clothes and I asked her what kind of things do you need, and she said especially like if you feel like going, you don't have clothes, if you feel like contributing you could give her money, or they also can use like underwear and socks for both men and women, so if you feel like doing that. So that's still going on, and also the calendars are out for December. Yay, I love Christmas season. And let's see, so I think we're, huh?
Michelle, has
Yes.
anybody heard how Jersey's doing?
I've not heard. I think fine. I think,
She had that procedure.
yeah, I think,
First procedure.
yeah. I think we would have been told if she needed prayer support because they're pretty connected with us. So I think my feeling is she's doing good. Okay, so did everybody get a little communion thingy? I'm not sure I'm the one to do this. I'm like Phil as far as opening them. But you actually, there's the little plastic part on top lifts up. You guys have this. So, loving Spirit of light, we thank you for all that you give us, and in our gratitude for Jesus Christ, the Ascended One. Amen. You may have to pretend with the other part. Okay, it's not working. Oh, I got it. Loving Spirit of light, as we go through this week, we thank you for all of our blessings and for our nutrients as we taste the Lord of light. Amen. Okay, did I miss anything? I think we're ready for our interview. So let's do an energy circuit for the folks online. And this we pray to our Lord Jesus and bless everybody that's online, bless everybody in this room. And we hope that you have a wonderful week. Amen. And I'm going to stop this. And we